go with that plan, you'll be able to achieve what you designed to achieve. But as of today, I think there are a lot of lapses. We have inflation hitting this country. Officially, they said 28.9. It's not 28.9. It's more than 28.9. Because almost about 70% of Nigerians today cannot boast of having 3 square miles. What are we doing about that? It is our responsibility to find a way out of it. Unemployment is high, almost about 37%. So when you are talking of hunger, that is poverty. And that is what we call insecurity. And we can see what is happening today. It is because of those little things that appear to be danger ahead that today we converge here trying to find solutions. Central Bank have released their policies in terms of foreign exchange. The Central Bank governor is right here. I've heard you on Arise TV about your policies. Will you convincingly tell Nigerians that your policy is working? Yes, I know it's a free market. Supply and demands will now be able to dictate what your pricing should be. Will you be right to saying that the exchange rate today we're paying is commensurate to the demands? If it is, in what sector? The most important sector is agriculture. When people are hungry, that means it's not working. I take one simple example with Toyota vehicles. Go and look at the number of Toyota vehicles in this country. Do we manufacture Toyota vehicles? How much foreign exchange do we pay for Toyota vehicles? Or do we have a policy that will make backward integration to work by making Toyota come back here and make an assembly plant that will serve Nigeria and the sub-West African nations? Look at our population. When you are talking about agriculture, have we seen what Brazil is doing in terms of agriculture? Will Central Bank be able to tell me that what Brazil is doing, what Brazil Development Bank is doing, Central Bank has done it in Nigeria? We must tell ourselves the truth. These policies are not working. For some time, the Central Bank closed the OMO market to allow the market to dictate itself. And I'm asking, has that worked? There's no country that will allow such freelance in its foreign exchange policy. When last have you heard, either in UK, Saudi Arabia, even in some of the developing countries, where you allow your foreign exchange to skyrocket? It's not done. It's only countries like Zimbabwe that will allow that. But we are in a country with talented people. We have some of the best economists in this country. The CBN governor, you are a banker. If your bank is not working, assuming you are a managing director of a commercial bank, the basis of you having that bank is to make sure that you provide services and be able to make profits for your investors. Which investor today in Nigeria or a foreign investor will feel very scared to bring his investment to this country? How many, from the inception of this administration today, how many direct foreign investment have we? How many have divested? So when we come here today, I think it is high time that we buckle our belts to do the right thing. NMPC has been a contributor to our income in terms of revenue. and the Minister of Finance is also here. We have had so much times without number that we have approved foreign loans in this National Assembly. And the foreign loans that we have approved, today if you convert them, they will give you trillions of naira. Are they actually reflecting? I give simple example with NASENI, National Agency for Engineering and Infrastructure also. Yes, science infrastructure. We approved in the last administration millions of dollars. And some of the reasons they gave is that it's going to be an avenue to generate more employment, make us dependent on getting solar photovoltaic being manufactured in Nigeria. Almost 3 years after, no one is talking about it. We have taken a lot of loans. We've collected money back that have been embezzled out of the country. They have repatriated some of these funds, and we say we are putting them in infrastructures. Till today, we are still funding Niger Bridge. We are funding Abuja-Kano Expressway. And with the inflation now, the rate has not even doubled, almost 300% more. Multiplier effects of doing all these things is that it will generate employment for Nigerians. Even the food stuff that we take to the market, cost will reduce, because if there is good road, you will see smooth transition from one port to the other. It's not happening. Now we just recently took $3.3 billion to cushion the volatility of foreign exchange. How does that work? I'm yet to see it when you said the market is open. How will that work? So the CBN and the Minister of Finance need to tell us what they think the 3.3 that has been taken on forward sales of our crude oil. This crude oil belongs to Nigerians, belongs to everybody. We are only entrusted to manage this. How do we relate when you compute how much Nigeria is going to pay back in terms of commitment? Is it right for Nigerians to take this loan? So, if you look at all this, I think there is need for us, before we even talk about agriculture, let's talk about the basics. 33 trillion naira in ways and means. We were just printing money at 9%. The same money is used in buying foreign exchange. At the end of every FAC, the Bureau de Change market burst. Are we aware that at the end of the year, going by the 9%, Nigeria is expected to have an increase in the ways and means by about 3 trillion naira? What effect would that have on our deficit? So I think there is need for the economic team to look at these issues very importantly. The NNPC funded federal government road infrastructure development as well. Over 2-point-something trillion was approved. As at last count, almost 700 and something billion has been released. Where are the roads? Where are the roads? If construction is going on, more employment has been taken, more of economic activities will crop up. I have not seen the roads, and Nigerians want to know what is happening with that. I will allow my other colleagues to make their own comments and put their own questions across, and then we go on. Thank you, Chairman.
What is your professional judgment in the cost of uncontrollable of our foreign exchange? The prices are going up every day. And what plans have you put in place to work strengthening the Naira in the next 2 months, 6 months, 1 year? And how do you implement, and why, in each case, what we are going to do different? Do you foresee any policy measures on the hostility of speculation behavior by private citizens? Because the manufacturing sector and the farming sector have gone dead, and nothing is happening there at all. And how do you expect to generate foreign exchange when farmers are not in their farms? People are not moving along to bring more crops that turns to raw material. And totally, hence men, bandits, and everybody have taken over the place. Are you going to print dollar if you don't do all these things? As a governor of Central Bank, I think, and your team, you concentrated more on the physical part, on the monetary aspect of this economy. Nobody is talking deeply about the physical aspect of the economy, which goes to the poor people of Nigeria. People are just interested in the cost of dollar. Are we going to dollarize the country? The answer is no. We must go back to abolish the use of dollar. Using of dollar in any shop, in any hotel, in any place in Nigeria should be abomination. Nobody should use dollar for any transaction in Nigeria. Nobody should be seen with dollar, except the authorized dealers. In South Africa, nobody buys anything with dollars. I can see even shops in Abuja putting their goods to be bought by dollars. So what have you done specifically? Do you have in terms of encouraging FDI? Because with where we are now, there is no foreign direct investment that will come to Nigeria. I'm very positive. People are leaving. And what effort have you made to bring to book those $2.7 billion that you say that they forged the documents? Who are the Nigerians that forged these documents? You must bring them to book. And you must make it public. So we as legislators, because people are attacking us. I can't go to my constituency. If I go to my constituency, people are hungry, people are shouting on us, and people think we, the senators, are the cause of the economic problem. We are just making laws. It's left for you people to execute it. I'm happy the coordinating Minister of Economy is here, and the Minister of National Planning and Agriculture, they are all here. So for me, what plans are you making right away to reconcile with NLC and TUC? It's going to further affect our economy. They have just given a 14 days ultimatum. What are we doing to stop that movement? Because I don't want to see people say this is politics, this is not politics. These people are legitimately doing what they are doing. I will stop so far. I have many other questions, but I want my colleagues to give time to my colleagues to do. And to Governor of Central Bank to just add one more thing. You are answerable to this Senate. I want to see you be serious. If we give you 8 o'clock, you must be here at 10 minutes to 8, waiting for us. We cannot wait for you. This committee on banking and insurance, you have to take it a lot more serious, otherwise we'll clash with you. Please, thank you.
It has been long overdue. But the unfortunate thing is that we expected the palliatives to come in immediately. The supplementary budget of 2022 that had over 800 billion naira appropriated by National Assembly, we had 500 billion naira that is transferred for palliatives. Up to now, we have not seen that palliatives. I understand we have problem with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, the ministry that is supposed to be responsible for the implementation of the palliatives. But everything has been suspended.
For all Nigerians. And I thank you for your comments and your questions. Now, Senator Abiru, in particular, talked about the medium term, and others have mentioned the long term. In economics, we normally discard the long term. The medium term is when the benefits of the major improvements to the economic framework will begin to yield fruit. As you yourself have mentioned, there has been long delay in changing to a path of policies that are sustainable in terms of revenue, in terms of expenditure, and in terms of the industrial policies that will grow the economy. So let us focus, as you have done, on the very short term, where the issue of inflation and related issue of foreign exchange depreciation are the major concern. And let me say that, you know, the senator talked also about the market and the fact that you just cannot leave things to the market. While this administration does believe that in most cases, market activity may deliver, in most circumstances, the kind of outcomes that we want. We also understand that there are contexts in which the market will not deliver the desired results. And it's the appreciation of this particular fact that has led to the intervention, the idea of intervening in the marketplace on behalf of the poor and the most vulnerable. That is the underpinning. And yes, whilst distinguished senator from, I think, Jigawa talked about the fact that there is direct payments, he will prefer productive sector intervention. The two are not mutually exclusive. In this short initial time period, as is being done in the agricultural sector, provision of food, as well as, and I will come back to the issue of production of food in Nigeria by Nigerians versus perhaps relying on imports. But in terms of the social protection, that is uppermost at the moment.
Thank you very much. I am honored to appear before this Joint Senate Committee on Finance, Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions and national planning to address critical concerns related to exchange rates and inflationary pressures in the economy. Indeed, this is the major topic of concern in our villages, our towns, and our cities. The urgency of the matter is not lost on us at the Central Bank. And I assure you, we are working tirelessly with colleagues across government, including with the leadership of the National Assembly, to bring lasting solutions. Inflation. In December 2023, the economic landscape reveals significant shifts. The headline inflation stood at 28.92% in December 2023, as against 28.2% in November. Food inflation was 33.93%, as against 32.84% in November, while core inflation was 23.06% as against 22.3%, 38% in October 2023. Headline inflation surged to 28.92%, propelled by food shortages, distribution channels, and seasonal trends. The festive season's consumer demand upsurge following subdued periods due to energy and foreign exchange reforms contributed to this trend, persisting from November through December yearly. The upward trend of food inflation is primarily due to supply shocks caused by insecurity, climate-induced factors such as flood and rainfall shortage in some cases, inefficient, subsistent, and seasonal farming practices, as well as importation bottlenecks that have impacted the prices of imported food items. Anecdotal evidence indicates that recent exchange rate volatility has fueled more foreign demands for agricultural products, especially from neighboring countries, which was alluded to earlier. While this presents an opportunity to expand and boost agricultural output, hence creating jobs in the sector, supply constraint exacerbated demand.
Sorry, CBN Governor.
Let him finish.
I think what we did here was like we asked specific.
Given this backdrop, the Emergency Committee on Food Security set up by the President has been taking a number of measures, and we see an end in sight to the persistent rise of food inflation. On our side at the CBN, we have responded with significant monetary policy tightening to rein in inflationary pressures. Empirical analysis has established that money supply is one of the factors fueling the current inflationary pressure. For instance, an analysis of the trend of money supply spanning over 9 months showed that M3 increased from 52 trillion in January 2023 to 68.2 trillion in November 2023, representing a 16.24 trillion or 31% increase over the period. Increase in net foreign assets following the harmonization of exchange rates and ways and means advances were the major factors driving the increase in money supply. We have also halted quasi-fiscal measures totaling over 10 trillion naira by the central bank, previously disguised as development finance interventions. These measures had contributed to increase in money supply, thereby raising prices to the level of inflation we are grappling with today. And if I may, can I just expand by saying that on the issue of development finance, we are coming to terms with a large amount of liquidity that was pumped into the system that created a lot of distortions, and sadly, a lot of it didn't get to where it was designed to get to. What we're trying to ensure is that going forward, we do not run the risk of failed interventions. So for the avoidance of doubt, we are not saying that we do not believe in interventions. No. All we are saying is that we do not have the capacity as a central bank to engage in interventions, and that we will work closely with those that have that ability, and in fact help them to create capacity where it doesn't exist, and also to be a convening mechanism for those that have that capacity to do it. So it will be a partnership as opposed to a situation where we get involved in it directly and, as I say, run the risk of failed interventions which are hugely inflationary. The CBN's adoption of inflation targeting framework involves clear communication and collaboration with fiscal authorities to achieve price stability, potentially leading to lowered policy rates, stimulating investment, and creating job opportunities. Are certain amounts of money in foreign countries? We can do the same thing here. We don't have to every time get up and go to the UK or to the United States. Let's put together a committee to start saying, well, look, how do we moderate these things? How do we moderate them? Because every single one has a responsibility, and no amount is too small. Distinguished senators, we must understand that the genuine issue impacting the exchange rate is the simultaneous decrease in the supply of and increase in the demand for US dollars. It is also clear that the task of stabilizing the exchange rate, while an official mandate of the CBN, would necessitate efforts beyond the bank itself, which is exactly what I'm saying. It will also include actions by corporates and individuals to reduce our frequent demand for the dollar for business and for personal needs. I would like to underscore the importance of the ongoing collaboration between the fiscal and monetary authorities, and particularly progress made on tackling a number of issues challenging our economy today. I couldn't overemphasize this. We at the ministry, we are constantly in touch with the ministries of budget and planning, and of course the Ministry of Finance, and more recently also the Ministry of Agric. We consider our function, in addition to everything else, as being advisors to government. And we are right now trying to strengthen that capacity to ensure that at the end of the day, we can provide that creditably. The movement, the further collaboration between NMPC and the central bank is also a major step in that direction. And we're very happy that we have that opportunity to be of service to NMPC. And we also recognize that in keeping with that.
But they are not. One of the touching points that I have not heard been mentioned either from them or from us is the issue of the criminalization of the dollar. Sir, in the last 10 years, nobody takes bribe buying dollars. Nobody gives bribe buying dollars. Sufficiently, nobody has addressed this thing because most of us have been affected because we're involved. Secondly, what guarantee will the CBN give to go back to its core mandate of being banker? The bastardization of the dollar actually starts from the CBN. And because sufficient people that are in government today and in government in the last 2 decades are involved. I have had the deputy governor mention billions of dollars being swept away through the CBN. And it is lamentation. Apart from Emefiele, nobody has been called to account. And if we continue like this, Nigerians are looking at us. We are going nowhere. The fact of the matter is that we must be more accountable, more serious than this. Because it is naive, sir, for us here to raise the issues of monetary and fiscal policies to you. You have the best credentials. We know you. We know where you're coming from. When I sit here and I said I will prepare economic solutions to you, you've been selected because you are the very best that we have at the moment. If I'm here, please let me round up. I'm a senator. I have the privilege to ask this question. To propose solutions to you. I've been naive. I cannot deceive myself. Sirs, the issues of monetary and fiscal policies are minute, very minute to what is happening in this country. The fact of the matter, people are stealing these dollars because they know nothing will happen to them, and it is our responsibility as citizens to come up with solutions. These issues of dollar bribe and dollar taking is from top to bottom.
Time up.
Thank you.
To exchange rates. And correspondingly, so much is going into the 3 tiers of government. That is federal government, state government, and local government. And unfortunately, there has not been increase in salaries of workers, salaries or wages of workers. When are we going to have salaries and wages of workers increased in view of the fact that so much quantum is now going into the 3 tiers of government? And related to this question is the concern now in the seaport, particularly on the clearance of imported goods. Virtually every week, the rate for the computation of duty is being changed. It was 420 before. Suddenly, it came to 720. Then now it's 1,440 naira to $1. The rate that is used to compute import duty. And I understand that normally, whenever importers bring their goods, the rate entered in the Form M should be the rate that should be used to calculate the duty. Why is the change now?
National Planning Minister.
Thank you very much. First of all, again, to thank the distinguished members for hosting us today and for the very insightful questions and comments, and to say that we've noted all of them down. A good number are things that we are working on, and I would hope that we will be in a position to revert the next time we have our parley. However, I think it may be necessary to just quickly respond on a couple of issues. One, of course, interest rates and the direction of travel on that. That is not something that we at the central bank do. We expect that once the Monetary Policy Committee kicks in, then we begin to get a greater sense from that body as to where interest rates are heading. Then on the issue of exchange rate, which has come up a number of times, and bordering on volatility of exchange rate and also value and stabilization of the exchange rate. In terms of volatility, we are using various tools to ensure that stability in terms of exchange rate happens sooner than later. And I think that is all I can say on that issue. On the issue of value of exchange rate, when is it going to go down? Well, the answer is I really can't tell you, other than to say that I do believe that once all these various measures kick in, there will be price discovery that will indeed be one that makes sense for everybody. But having said that, I think I also have to say something very important that hopefully should buttress the issue of the value of the Naira and really where we all stand. And that is, as I said earlier, that is definitely not the exclusive preserve of the central bank. It is not. And we all have a responsibility in ensuring that demand and supply, we are working as much as possible on supply, but on the demand side, we do have to all moderate our various interests on that to ensure that demand begins to come to a level that is sustainable. It's sustainable. Because even if the central bank is able to moderate through tools the value of the exchange rate, if these other things don't kick in over a period of time, it may buy us relief, but we go back to the same old situation. So you have an exchange rate that is at a certain level, you are happy, you go away. But if other issues don't come in, some of which have been mentioned here today with respect to productive capacity and all that, then we're just kicking the can further down the line. I think I just want to make that clear that that is the case. I will also say something else, and that is on the issue of confidence. Because in all this, confidence is very important.